Hello and welcome to JamHammer. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the next delivery of the Imperium Magazine Series that I received from Hachette Partworks. I'll be reviewing the contents of issues 23 through 26, as well as seeing how much of a saving we're getting with these issues as opposed to buying the included models and paints at retail prices. So this has been a particularly long wait to get these issues. It's been a few months since I received the last delivery, which contained the similarly delayed 5th and 6th issues, plus 19 through 22. I did receive this email from Hachette a while ago, which I chased up with them about a month later to see when we could expect to see these next editions. Unfortunately, this was the same response as last time we had a delay, that the series is proving more popular than they expected, and that they were having problems fulfilling all of their orders. I've seen in the comments on other videos in this series that many other folks out there have been waiting a while for orders too, so this shortage does seem to be widespread and ongoing. But we got there in the end, and this delivery is pretty exciting because not only should there be some big savings here with some interesting models, but it actually arrived in a box, so there could be even more goodies to explore. Let's dive in. Opening up the box, and I can see lurking at the bottom of the pile is this big old binder. If you've been following along with this series, or you're subscribed to Imperium 2, then you'll likely recognise this as the free gift that we received with our third delivery. It looks to be exactly the same binder. This is a bit annoying, as I was hoping that, since we're paying for these now, that they would have gone to the trouble of printing some different graphics on there, but no such luck. Also, I actually opted out of receiving any more of these special items, as Hachette has a nasty habit of charging you for extras, as well as the subscription costs, so bit annoyed that this cost me $8.99 when that could have gone on another issue with, models rather than a binder that I probably won't use. Putting this aside, we have something more promising here with a mysterious cardboard package. Opening this up, and these are the art prints that we receive as our 5th and final gift with our 7th delivery. As you can see from the light bouncing off these, they're very glossy, as well as being highly detailed and some pretty cool images of each army that we're receiving models for in this series. Lots of dynamism and some very contrasting colour palettes between them, which really catches the eye. Flipping this one over, and we can get a bit more information that these are limited edition prints from Games Workshop and Hachette. Since these aren't available from retail, I couldn't really guess at how much these were worth, but they're great quality prints that I can definitely see putting up on the wall around my painting station. Now let's get into the magazines. We've got issue 23 to start with, and I can see a big sprue here with parts for making a creepy looking Canoptek Spyder. Big image of said Spyder on the cover here, and inside, as expected, some info on this construct, as well as some further info on other Canoptek units. There's another lore section after this, focusing on the Adeptus Mechanicus, as we're receiving some of their units now to supplement our Astartes. Further on, we have an assembly guide for the Spyder, as well as instructions on how to paint it with the paint supplied in the collection. We've also got a datasheet for the Spyder, as well as one for the scarab swarms that they'll likely be babysitting, so good to have these together like this. Turning over then, and we have some more rules to explain how exploding vehicles work, as our Spyder here is the first example of this mechanic we've come across in the magazine so far. And finally, we've got another little skirmish to play through, step by step, featuring, you've guessed it, the Spyder. Speaking of which, let's take a closer look at this sprue. So we've got a flying base here with 2 different length struts for different elevations. Nice chunky carapace with parts to include the particle beamers if you so choose. Definitely counting more than 8 legs here, so perhaps not quite an arachnid this construct. Flipping this over, and I never knew this, but there's a swarm of scarabs scuttling out from underneath this model apparently. Horrifying. So if we check on the Games Workshop web store now, we can see that this model currently retails for a pretty steep £26. Going through the pictures, and we're not missing anything here, these do look to be the same sprues as we get in the box, so taking away from this the $8.99 cover cost of the magazine means that issue 23 gives us £17 and a penny's worth of savings. Pretty good start. Bit of a side note here. In the last episode of this series, I converted the Great British Pounds into US dollars, rather than comparing how much the minis cost on the American web store if you were to buy these retail. So we'll look at that now for more realistic prices and savings. Plus, Imperium is available in the USA now for $13.95 per issue. Although I actually just noticed as I was capturing this footage that it doesn't look like they provide you with the art prints that were included with this delivery. In fact, they're saying that a free issue is one of the gifts, but if we look at the notes here on the British site, it says that this subscription gets a free issue anyway. Not cool, Hachette. Over to the USA web store then, and we can see that the Canoptek Spyder goes for $42, minus the $13.95 cost of the magazine, makes this a saving of $28.05. Now let's take a look at issue 24. No sprues with this one, but a couple of paint pots and some lore on the Tyranids inside apparently. First up though, we've got info on AdMech weaponry, followed by Necron degradation. Then we have some narrative on the Tyranids, followed by a painting section. This is going back through our painted models so far and adding in the new colours that have been included with this issue, and these are exclusively being applied to the Primaris Marines. Following on from this, and we're starting to get some more sophisticated rules that look like they've been taken straight from the rulebook. Here they're focusing on victory points and objectives. Oh, and this is interesting. It looks like we're getting more in-depth missions too, with a scout mission pack being introduced here. These look to be more akin to the missions you see in regular matches of 40k, rather than the previous sort of instructional ones we've had up until now. They've also included a few victory point tokens at the top here that you cut out and use if need be. Putting the magazine aside then, and let's take a look at the pots. Oh, well, the first one contains the holiest of Games Workshop washes, Nuln Oil. Very pleased to get my hands on this, as I've heard it's a great shade paint. Plus, we've got a very murky looking pot of Rakarth flesh that needs some serious shaking up. On the British web store then, we can see that Nuln Oil goes for £4.75, while Rakarth flesh is a modest £2.75, making this £7.50 worth of paints, and, bit of a shame, that makes it a loss of £1.49. Still, this is more than covered by the reduced price of the Spyder alone, so not too bad with 2 more issues still to go. In the USA, Nuln Oil is $7.80, while Rakarth flesh is $4.55. So $12.35 altogether, taking away the $13.95 cost of the magazine, means a loss here of $1.60. Let's see if we can bring these numbers back around. Issue 25 then, and no sprue on the front usually means, yep, a nice chunky sprue on the back. Now this is more like it. Cracking this one open, and we've got some bases as well as that sprue, plus another foldout. This has some info on the AdMech forces, as well as the different specific factions deployed in this arena. The other side has some extra lore on how a Forge world is governed. Neat, always in for a bit of world building. On the front cover of the magazine though, it's all about the Necrons, with artwork and a photo of the included Immortals. Inside, and we've got some info on these units and the weapons they wield, plus some more info on the hierarchy of the Necrons. We then got cryptex, and a big bit of lore surrounding the Imperium itself. Next section, we have assembly guides for the Immortals, as well as instructions on how to paint them. These both feature the Gauze Blaster on all of the minis, so not sure if these cheaper sprues will include all the weapon options, but that's fine, as personally, I'd likely opt for this weapon anyway. We then have the datasheet for the Immortals, plus we're introduced to the finer mechanics of how the Royal Warden we received way back in the first issue operates. And apparently the opening sections of the 40k rules by the sound of things. Yeah, with a key too. Bit late in the series for this, but I guess these magazines are supposed to be dissected and put into the rather pricey binders. We've then got another mission to play through, which is again a more typical sounding 40k one rather than those instructional skirmishes. Onto the sprue now, and nope, I stand corrected. These do include the immortal weapon options, so we have 5 Tesla carbines, as well as synaptic disintegrators, so you could build these however you like. Just seen there as well, they do have the monocular heads for creating the death marks too. Very nice. Checking in on the web store, and again, these do look to be the exact sprues you get if you were to buy the retail box. I double checked, and although there is a death mark listing on the store, this seems to have the same sprues too. Cool. So, £26 for these, but with the $8.99 cover cost paid, we're getting these for a steal with another saving of £17 and 1 pence. On the USA web store, these also go for $42, so again, a saving here of $28 and 5 cents. Good stuff. Last issue for this delivery now with number 26. You can see a couple of little sprues in there, as well as a large base. On the cover of the magazine, we have artwork and a photo of the included mini, a Tech Priest Dominus. Inside, and as we'd expect, we have a breakdown of this unit and its weaponry. Overleaf, we have some lore on lore itself. Very meta. This is followed by instructions for how to assemble the Tech Priest, which has some variety in assembly by the looks of things. And then we have a paint guide using a collection, and even the new ones from this delivery making an appearance, with Rakoff flesh and Null Oil being put to good use here. A very detailed painting section for this included model, with info and highlights, plus guidance on using those 2 new paints with our previous AdMech models. Next is the datasheet for the Tech Priest, as well as instructions on how their abilities work on the tabletop. And another mission featuring our new priest and the Skitarii Rangers from the last delivery. Let's take a closer look at this sprue, and this is a brilliant looking model. Love the detailing on the ragged cloak mixed with the metallic tentacles and claws. Couple of head options too, which is nice to add some variety. Plus, it wouldn't be AdMech without a whole host of weapons and extra limbs for bringing them all to bear on the tabletop. On the web store, you can pick up this beauty for £24, so minus the $8.99 paid here, and we stand to make a saving of £15 and 1 pence. For folks in the USA, this model retails at $38, so taking away the $13.95 cover cost means saving $24 and 5 cents. Totaling up how much these sprues and accessories cost overall then, if you buy them directly from Games Workshop, it would cost you £83 and 50p. If you were to buy these 4 issues of Imperium Magazine though, this would cost you £35 and 96p, which means a big saving of £47 and 54p. This is a slightly bigger saving than our last delivery, even with the issue that was at a loss because of the paints. In the USA, the total cost of the included minis and paints is $134.35. The total retail cost of the magazines would be $55.80, so that makes this a very nice $78.55 saving. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking it, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the bell to be notified of new videos being released. Unfortunately, I got scalped an extra $8.99 for that binder, so not quite as good a saving for myself here, but still pretty happy with what was included, particularly the Necrons, as those are some great units. The Spyder should synergize well with the Scarabs, and having the Immortals as a small, inexpensive troops selection will really help to fill out the army. There'll be more videos about this Warhammer 40k Partworks series being released as soon as the next delivery arrives, so please do keep an eye out for more Imperium content coming soon to JamHammer. In the meantime, there are plenty of other videos available on the channel, including a few that are on screen now for you to click on. Thanks again for watching.